Okay, hello there, everyone. This is Andre Dig Guy. I'm going to make this very, very quick. And that's just because I was actually just going to do this on Twitter, but Twitter for some reason, I really got to like trim my mustache. Twitter for some reason would not let me turn to the front-facing camera on my phone to do a live recording. So I guess it's just going to go up on YouTube, and my kids are watching the movie, yelling and screaming. Okay, what I've gotten from most of the complaints about the Nintendo Switch Online is that it doesn't have enough good features. And what I've seen as opposed to that is it's at a third of the price, so you shouldn't expect as many features because you're basically paying for what you're getting. You're getting what you're paying for. I understand both arguments. I understand both sides. I understand why people are agitated about certain things with the online subscription service for the Nintendo Switch. I see all of that, and I get it. Like, but if it's really upsetting you that much, don't pay for it. Like, don't get it. Don't buy it. Don't spend into it. If it really upsets you that much to the point that you think that it is a detriment to Nintendo, don't pay into it. Do not give them your money. This is simple. Like, I've said this for every company in gaming, and I don't know why. It seems like the people who complain the most about it are the people who are going to day one spend everything that they have on it, and then 2 to 3 weeks later, they're not going to have any complaints about it because they're not going to be able to say anything because they paid into it. And then they'll find every reason to justify for themselves why it's a good service now when it was a bad service before it launched. This is the same thing that happened with the Xbox One. This is the same thing that happened with the PS4. This is the same thing that has been happening in gaming repeatedly over and over again many, many times. If you don't like a product, you don't like the way it's presented, you don't like how it's you see it going, then do not pay into it. Don't feed into it. Don't give them money to make it, to produce more of it. Or you do the other thing that I've seen a lot of people suggest, that's make suggestions without being an asshole. Talk to them on their social media platforms. Get their attention. There are ways to do it. Like, it's not like it's impossible. It might be difficult because Nintendo is a little bit stringent sometimes, but it's not impossible. There's no way, shape, or form impossible to get communication to Nintendo that you are unsatisfied with this shit. But guess what you guys did? You killed the direct line of service to Nintendo when you said that you didn't want Miiverse. And that was one of the easiest ways to communicate with Nintendo about just about any goddamn thing. But guess what? Well, I don't think you can buy an online service secondhand, Krista. Like, I don't think that's possible because it's kind of a digital thing that has to be locked to your platform. But I get what you're talking about, like with the physical stuff. Yeah, you buy it secondhand, and you're not giving them your money. But then at the same time, if you buy it secondhand and you end up purchasing any sort of like extra content like DLC, then you're actually still giving the money either way. But that's another point for another time. So, and that exaggerates and boosts like DLC sales, but that's another thing to talk about a completely separate time. But my whole point in this, my whole other point in this, like, if you're going to bitch about it, do not immediately purchase into it. But like, don't do that because I know that there are so many people who have been up in arms about this with the pitchforks raised. And day one, they're going to have the fucking Switch Online service on their platforms because well, I gotta play my games online. I gotta have that online play. Like you can't go like. Do you realize that you become so addicted to the fact that you can play online with other people that you rarely interact with other people in life directly? More than likely, and that is the case for many people who are like behind this wall of I have to play online. Like, do you really have to play every game online? No, you don't. Like, especially if a game actually has a decent enough single player, actually learn to play it. There are far too many people who go into a game and automatically jump to the online component immediately. Like, especially when it comes down to like shooter type games. Like, I'm the opposite. I'll do the campaign first before I dare touch an online mode. But people need to really chill out on this. Like, I see there's so many different arguments, and like some things aren't great arguments to make, and then there are other things that are completely wonderful arguments to make. The asinine argument of bitching about people saying, "Oh, it's only $20." Well, guess what? This is what people did with the. People did this with fucking Sony for PS3 all throughout the PS3's fucking lifetime. But as soon as PS4 fucking came and they said, hey, we're charging you for online, guess what happened? Everybody found a reason to justify it. That's the same thing that's happening with the Nintendo Switch. And many of these people are actually the same people and they don't recognize it, which is the fucking hilarious thing. Like, I'm catching it and I'm seeing it, but a lot of other people who are saying these things aren't. Just like there are a lot of people who say they want a particular game out of Nintendo, and then that game comes out, and then they're the first ones to say, well, no, I don't want this game. Like, even though it's almost exactly how you described it. And trust me, I've been on podcasts with people where we have like described a game that we wanted to see, and that game came out, and then nobody bought it. So, like, I know from firsthand experience that happens. But again, my major point here: if you're going to complain about Nintendo Switch Online, don't pay into it immediately. And I'm not talking about minor complaints like little shit. I mean, like, if you have a bunch of major complaints about it, do not pay into the shit. I know people who don't have a bunch of complaints about it who are still not going to pay into it day one. And I find it odd that the biggest complainers are the ones that are going to jump on it first. Is it because of your YouTube channels that you feel like you have to have online so you can do live gameplay of you playing with your subscribers and playing with other people? And my kids are arguing. I'm going to wrap this up really quick. What's up, Brownie? Oh, gosh. This is why I'm not playing online on anything at the moment. I'm playing solo at home because of all of this. But if you're one of the biggest complainers, one of the bigger naysayers, do not pay into it. Don't pay for it. Because honestly, yes, you should expect lesser services from a lower priced subscription service. You should not expect all of the same bells and whistles as a $60 service. But here's another thing. Like, I personally, when I've played online on any Nintendo platform, I have never had as many drops as I have had on a Sony platform. Like, and that's legitimate for me, my personal experience. I've had more drops playing on Sony stuff, which has a paid service now, than I ever have on the Nintendo platform with no paid service. And Nintendo's moving into a paid service. So yes, I am optimistic that it will be better. I don't personally see how it's going to turn out worse than what Sony has done. And Sony is still charging people $60 a year, and they have days sometimes where their online servers are off for particular games. And here's another. Oh gosh, I gotta get this done quickly. Here's another argument that I've heard made, and I think in this case it might actually apply to Nintendo, and that's for people to be paying for services for online servers that they're not actually playing on. In Nintendo's case, you might actually be playing on servers that they're having you pay to maintain because they have their own online games. And they are a majority first-party game platform than anything else. They do a lot of their own first-party games, and they will add online to their own first-party games. So yeah, you might actually be paying to maintain the service for Nintendo. Sony, probably not. Microsoft, I think you probably are, because they're like how their system operates. You might actually be paying to maintain their online servers too. Sony, I'm not so sure about because I haven't really heard much of Sony having like a huge set of servers that they're working with. And Nintendo stuff is much, much smaller because they are a gaming-centric company, whereas Sony and Microsoft aren't. So there's a lot of stuff that they got to think about and consider. And people just don't look at all of the you're not looking at apples to apples. You're looking at apples to oranges. And that is the general problem I see when it comes down to these comparisons. Nintendo has always done things a different way. Nintendo has always required patience. These are the things that everyone knows. But so many people still complain about these things. Like, everybody knows this. With anything with Nintendo, yeah, you can have your knee-jerk reaction, but sometimes it's best to take a second after you had that reaction to think a bit about what you're thinking, what you're seeing. That's always been my general philosophy. Like, and that's why sometimes where you see me have a rant video and then I look back or I get new information and I'll come back and correct myself. I'm one of the few people on YouTube who I know of that actually does that. And that's why I'm like, that's why I titled this stream the way I did. Like, if you don't want it, don't pay for it. Like, if you have what you feel are completely major complaints, do not pay into it. Don't give them your money for it. Whether or not you feel like it's forced for you to have online play, take a stand. Stand against it. Do not pay for it. Like, but don't sit there and like complain and moan about it and then just go and pay into it and then stop complaining and moaning about it. Like, if you want improvements, try your best to get to get something going where you can get contact to Nintendo or just make it known publicly like, hey, yeah, we want more stuff. But you also have to be aware that you asking for more stuff is going to jack that price up. So if you get mad that you don't... What the hell? My kids were yelling and screaming. Like I said, I need to wrap this up like 3 or 4 minutes ago. So I'm going to just wrap it up real quick. If you're going to have major complaints that you feel are major complaints about Nintendo Switch Online, do not purchase it. Do not pay into it. Don't attempt to. Play your games offline. Play them on the go or whatever, but do not play them online. Like, do not pay for it at all. Because you're not, like, with that, you're not actually telling Nintendo that you dislike the service. You're actually telling them more so that you're okay with it. Every time you make that purchase, you're telling them you're okay with it. And the fact that they got so many people on pre-ordering for this is fucking ridiculous. Why the fuck would you pre-order an online service that's always going to be available for you to purchase at any fucking time? Thinking. Not happening. But you know what? I'm done. Like I said, like, you want those better features, be aware that price is going to get jacked up. And over time, it is definitely going to go up. But that's it. Thank you guys very much for listening. You guys, and there's up more stuff from me. And until the next time, enjoy your games. And I gotta go deal with my kids before they fucking like murder each other. Peace out.